What's poppin', yo? I've been working on a couple of different things as of late, so I haven't uploaded to this channel, but I just couldn't let the Durk thing slide. No pun intended. So just recently, we all heard what happened with Lil Durk. He got picked up for murder for hire, which was several hours after the indictment came out on the killers of Lil Pop, who was Quando Rondo's homie, brother, relative. I don't really know exactly how related they were, but I'm pretty sure he was like his really, really close homie, his mans. And this all stemmed back to King Von, which I'm calling the Black Plague of drill music. Like, this guy, whatever King Von touched, died or had its life ruined. And I mean that both physically, whoever he touched, because Quando Rondo had his life ruined after that, and he physically touched him, out of body experience. And Lil Durk's life is now ruined, and whoever else was surrounded by King Von, because King Von passed, but then the O Block 5 happened with Duck, so Duck dying, and then all those guys are doing 20 plus years. So everybody's getting terrorized by this guy. This guy was, I think, a demon incarnate. Great music though. I'm still bumping that. With that being said, Lil Durk now, we gotta put some respect on Durk's name, man. I feel like I have a certain affinity. I wouldn't say relationship because I don't know these guys, but 2011 to 2013 drill era, like we're talking Chief Keef, we're talking SD, we're talking Lil Reese, we're talking Lil Durk, all those guys, Lil J, who we had to cast aside because of the extracurricular activities he was getting into while he was up in the penitentiary or in jail. Yeah, we don't mess with that. But all these other guys, it's like I saw them. It's like I grew up with them, realistically. So seeing Lil Durk get into this, I wouldn't say it pains me, but I'm like, damn, Durk was getting that busy? Because after, I would say around 2015, 2016, a lot of people, they started diving into like the gang activity and stuff like that. Me personally, I wasn't really too into that. Like, I knew the basics when drill was first happening, but I wasn't gonna look into characters who had nothing to do with music. So I didn't know how busy Durk was getting. But it's also a shame when we look back at certain clips. I'll show two clips right now. It depends whether they got copyrighted or not. One of them was on the $1 Million Worth of Game episode with Gilly and Wallow.
And I'm going to say some shit that, like, this is documented. I got a TED Talk. I forgave my brother's killer. And I'm saying it to say this. Nigga killed my brother. My brother died in my grandma's arms. In that fucking house that we grew up in. Nigga shot my brother. He ran to the house. He died in Nanny Holmes when she opened the door. So I'm telling you, there's some real shit, man. If I ain't let that shit go, I won't be right here today. I won't be here for my niece and my nephews. Me and Gil won't be doing this. Y'all won't know me. I won't be able to give y'all this game. But I had to let that shit go. And when I let that shit go, I started to grow. And I started to glow. And now I'm here today, and it was harder than a motherfucker, man.
So as you just saw from that clip, Wallow, it's almost not even poetic. It's like a motif that we have in hip hop now. It's Wallow breaking down, and I don't mean like breaking down like into tears like he did here, which was sad to see, unfortunately. And I feel like more people that are outside of what's going on in terms of crime will be able to empathize with Wallow than Durk or Young Thug in that situation, who's another situation where I said this was more of a motif. If you see Wallow talking to somebody and giving them advice, you know they're not taking any of that advice, because what he told Durk here was before he went on that drill, or not went on that drill, but allegedly did that murder for hire. When it came to Young Thug, they had already been building a case for 10 plus years on the YSL stuff, and we also haven't seen how that completely panned out yet. So there was that clip, and then there's the clip of Durk with academics. So I'll play that clip for you guys right now.
Do you get triggered by the...
Pull up Floyd Mayweather. Pull up Vaughn.
Oh, yeah. Do you get triggered by the
beat the shit out of this little ass, man. What are you talking about?
Triggered by the slide for Vaughn comments? Still. I don't know if people still say it. They used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They'd be like, they be saying slide for Vaughn. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, them songs is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more. For some odd reason. I don't know. Might be the water. You be seeing them comments a lot?
They kind of chilled out a little bit.
I wonder why. We here though. We different in Iraq.
I feel like you're speaking in parables.
So you saw Durk like, oh, damn, I don't really see those slide for Vaughn comments anymore. And in one of the lyrics for one of Durk's songs, He's like, oh, if you can't catch him, then like get his guys, whoever's close to him. Durk's been going through legal stuff throughout his entire life, but I don't think Durk's been in jail for at least 10 years now. I remember he had this one gun charge in Chicago. After that, he's been caught up with different arrests, but he's always gotten out. He hasn't done extended stretches. And one of the things that everyone's hopping on now is, yo, is Durk going to tell? I'm going to be completely honest. If there's one person in the hip hop game that I would say I would bet money on would not tell, it would be Lil Durk. And this is one of the reasons why I have a certain degree of respect for Lil Durk, because he has certain principles that he's willing to take losses by standing on. Like, for instance, he was the first rapper to cut off Gunna. All these other rappers, including 21 Savage, are like, nah, we got to see what happens. Even after the video came out, like, oh, we got to see what happens. We don't really know the whole story. They're dancing around it. Durk, he wasn't seeing, oh, I want to see what the audience thinks. To him, he was like, oh, a rat took away my dad for 20 plus years, or 20 years of my life. So how could I ever be cool with one? And of course, we're going to logically say, well, your dad doing crime is what took him away. Yeah, of course. However, that principled stance that he took, and he was the first one to do that after he just had a hit with Gunna, which was the Virgil song, Oh My God, What Happened to Virgil? So I don't even know if he was performing that Gunna's part anymore, but that was a big song. They had success together. They would have had continued success together, but he cut him off. So I respected that. And I think Durk has such a high degree of, like, respect is not even strong enough of a word for how he looks up to his father. And I think when he grew up, people were telling him about his father. And he became Muslim because of his father. So there's this whole notion right now going around that, oh, Durk just became Muslim. If you go back to a Vlad interview from like 10 years ago, he talks about being Muslim. And he talks about it because his dad converted while his dad was in prison. So when his dad got out, Durk became Muslim. So Durk's been Muslim. It's not anything new. However, him projecting it in the way that he has been lately, of course, we can say, okay, this guy's been leaning more towards it publicly, and we don't know what he was doing in private before. Well, we know he was allegedly throwing these hits, but I think he has changed. Does that mean I defend anything he did? Hell no. But that's just, I don't think Lil Durk would be able to look at himself in the mirror, even if he was free, and know that he told on some people to get out of a prison sentence, which if he even has the opportunity to tell on anybody, because he's the alleged top guy of this whole situation. He's the guy financing it. He's the guy ordering the hit. Who is there to tell on? Unless he's going to help solve a bunch of other crimes. And also, Lil Durk has been getting busy for a while, because if you guys recall, 10 years ago or so, Durk was into it with The Game. And I think Durk had like this little spat with Tyga, and that's when The Game got into it. And The Game dropped this diss song or a diss verse towards Durk. I don't remember the exact details. However, I remember when Durk ended up showing up in LA to a club with The Game, and he was telling The Game like, yo, let's go outside. And he was telling The Game like, yo, this ain't what you want. So Durk was really on, he went out to LA with probably his guys, some killers, went out there and was pressing up on The Game. No Diddy, pause on all that. And The Game, I'm not going to say The Game was shook, but The Game knew the situation. He was like, okay, these guys are not playing around. So if Durk was moving like that back then, and he didn't have nearly as much money as he has now, I'm not surprised to see, well, actually, I am surprised to see what has transpired as of the past couple of years. But it's one of those situations where I felt like Durk wasn't going to get in trouble, because when the 6ix9ine situation happened, when the shooting happened at the Barclays Center, and I kind of just went away for 5 months, 6 months, I was, even in my old videos, which I don't know if they're still up, but I was saying, yo, there's no way they're just letting this fly. Like, shooting at the Barclays Center, it's impossible. There's no way. There's something coming. With Durk, it felt like everything just went away. Like, the only thing that I could have potentially seen Durk get in trouble for that went away was the shooting incident in Atlanta with King Von. But I thought, okay, King Von died. Maybe that went away. That always perplexed me a little bit, how that was able to just kind of get swept under the rug. But who knows? Maybe it gets brought up later, because it hasn't even been brought up in this case, because this one's for Lil Pop, not even that shooting. Who knows if they'll bring it up in a RICO, because that would be a different location. So if the murder's happening in California, they're like, yo, this guy's ordering hits in California, whilst he's also doing crimes, shooting himself in Florida. Who really knows? And that's why lately I've been listening to a lot of Durk music again the past couple of days, because it just hits way different. I'm listening to the lyrics now. I'm like, yo, he was really doing all this. And it just makes the music hit harder. Can't lie. Before that, I would listen to Durk here and there, but not as much as I had from 2012 to 2014. Even after he blew up, I would listen to the hits, of course. But it was just so brazen that he was moving, because anyone that's really rich, and Durk was at least up 50 million, if not over 100 million. I wouldn't be, if someone told me, yo, Durk was up 150, 200, I wouldn't be surprised, because Durk had signed a new deal when he had just blown up. Like after Laugh Now, Cry Later, I think his deal was up. So he got a fat bag off of that. And then he was constantly on the road doing shows. And booking Durk, it was at least $250,000, $500K. He was doing those shows, hell, maybe twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And then he was at every festival. So you just run that up. Sure, he definitely had a lot of expenses and a lot of cost. But one thing that people kind of idolize about people like Durk, and I don't mean like a criminal or a gang member or a savage or anything like that, but just they envied his position of like, yo, this guy's got a bad B, right? And he's got all this money and he's got all this fame and he's talented. Well, it seems like Lil Durk hasn't lived with peace for a very, very long time. You got to think his brother got killed. Everything he went through growing up without a dad, and that was being broke. But even after he made money, right? Newski gang killed, his brother dying, King Von dying, which King Von was the Black Plague. I will continue to say that. For all these people dying, and then people running in his crib, right? And then his girl has to pick up the gun and shoot. Or did he pick up the gun? I think she picked up the gun. Either way. So people running down in his crib. Guy's rich and doesn't even get peace. And then now the weight of crimes coming down on top of him, that's going to take away his freedom. So is it really worth, let's say Lil Durk has been filthy rich for 5 years now, maybe 4 to 5. I would say, yeah, about four years. There was a period of time of 3 where he was kind of like trying to scrape together. He wasn't struggling at that point, but his career was rocky. So let's say 5 years you get to live as a filthy rich millionaire. But there's danger constantly on you, right? And then now you're stuck in prison or jail. And you're facing this case where life is the sentence because somebody died. Murder for hire, somebody dies, you're facing life or death penalty. And it's in California. There's no 10 to 20 years. I think that's only if somebody gets hurt, you can get 10 to 20. So this isn't even like he did a regular murder. So you're facing potentially the rest of your life. So is it worth living 5 years as a millionaire to go to prison for the rest of your life? Hell no, it ain't worth. And the brazenness is what shocks me, because individuals that we see with a lot of money that may currently or have in the past had ties to certain gangs, may have gotten certain people knocked off, hurt. Who can we think of off the top of our heads, right? Birdman, he got Lil Wayne's tour bus shot up, allegedly. We even saw that dude Roscoe got charged for that. And the person he called immediately after that was Birdman. But that was when Birdman got out of Dodge. It was either in Miami or Atlanta when he was really messing with the blood stuff heavy. So Birdman backed up out of there. But Birdman's been involved in stuff with the streets, bloods, gangs, 30 plus years. But Birdman is not talking about, yo, I got him shot up, I'm getting this person hit, you shouldn't mess with me. Birdman's really low-key. Another individual is Jay Prince, right? We don't know what Jay Prince is up to. People can only assume. Most of his reputation is from decades ago, but that guy's not doing too much talking. Sure, some people say, oh, he talks a lot on social media now, but not really. And he's definitely not rapping and active and always in front of cameras and doing speeches and with politicians whilst talking about, oh, you don't want to mess with me, I'm a big boss, I got killers. So everyone that's actually got the power and could potentially be making things happen behind the scenes like Durk was doing are shadow figures. Durk's at the forefront, the star, rapping and allegedly doing this, which is, it's almost incomprehensible, which is why I thought, not that he was capping in his raps, but the fact that, I think he's exaggerating a little bit, right? And the position that Durk was in was so unfortunate because he was helping out all these guys, right? If they're doing time, it doesn't matter. Let's say somebody's doing 20 years, right? And it was for a crime that's somewhat close to you, or maybe you had some involvement with, they killed somebody for you. And we're talking about O Block 5 in this case, right? Which Durk wasn't mentioned in the charge. King Von would likely have been. If Durk puts money on their books, helps them out for 10 years, right? Lawyer fees for all this stuff, which burns through cash quick. If they got to do another 10 years and he stops putting money on their books, they're not like, yo, 10 years, man, he did us a solid. we gonna thug this next 10 years out. And I was like, yo, I might have some information to give up. So you get into this situation where it's not even extortion, but the price of somebody's freedom. What do they value it at? And some people, they probably don't value it as much as others. And in the past, it may not have been as bad as it is now, in terms of now these guys probably got phones in jail or they're hearing about what's going on. Like, man, I threw my life away for this, my freedom, which I believe freedom is priceless. There's nothing more valuable than freedom other than health. So freedom, their freedom's gone, and they're probably looking at the phone like, man, this guy's living, this guy's got the hose, and they're probably seeing other people that told. They're looking at 6ix9ine, they're looking at Gunna, they're looking at Woody, YSL Woody, and they're just looking around like, yo, these guys are living a good life now. And I'm sitting here behind these bars, time will break somebody down. So with Durk, I can't even say I hope he beats this, because I don't even, when have we ever seen, was the incident with Max B, was that murder for hire? Because Max B ended up getting like 75 years. Actually, with actual murder for hires, the two cases, one was Jimmy Henchman, who I think was already doing a life sentence. But Jimmy Henchman, who was a big manager, I think he worked with the game at one point, he got convicted of murder for hire, and he got a life sentence plus 20 years. And then also, Supreme McGriff had gotten murder for hire for 2 people, and he got life in prison. They were trying to implicate Murder Inc. for that too, but we know how that panned out. Murder Inc. ended up beating that case. And Tekashi 6ix9ine was potentially going to get that, but he told. And in Tekashi's case, nobody was harmed or killed. So he wouldn't have been getting life for that. So for the murder for hire plots that we had seen within hip hop, they all got life. And I don't think we saw anybody beat these charges, not these cases. So it's not looking good. And this is the thing, man. Somebody wearing a wire on you. I think that's what hurts Durk the most. I mean, if Durk got the headphones, he's probably listening to King Von Why He Told right now. If that dude Jam was actually telling on him. He's probably, if anything, he's probably shedding a tear to that more than any other aspect of what he's going through right now. He's like, man, my own guy telling on me. I couldn't believe it. And this is where I'm surprised we haven't seen 6ix9ine talk yet. Yet, remember the beef that we had? Youngboy and Durk. And we were all talking about like, yo, who won? Durk outsmarted Youngboy. Man, you know, Durk got Youngboy to buy into him, and now he's promoting his album. Well, unfortunately, they're both behind bars right now. I think Youngboy might be doing a year. They said he will be out by 2026 at the maximum, I think. And then I think he's clear of everything else, if I'm not mistaken. So did Youngboy win because he'll be out before Durk's case probably even starts? Or did they both really lose? Because let's look at the situation here. They're both behind bars. And just, 2 years ago? Not even. We were talking about them beefing, and they were the 2 hottest rappers in the game. It's crazy how things can switch up, man. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.